Now, Yakub, we're all there, loud and clear, as you said, and the audience is there as well. So can you tell us why you took up such a challenging project? Because you're well ensconced in New York. Yes, he lives in New York. He has no reason, absolutely, to come to India to attend the Mahakumbh. But I believe it was his 60th birthday, and that suddenly triggered a thought process, which Yakub will tell us about. But before that, I also want him to talk about the diverse background he comes from. Yakub.
Thank you, Lady Kishwar. Yeah, my name is Yakub Mathew. That name itself is quite a, sort of a strange one. People can interpret it anyway. The Jewish part of it is Jacob Mathew, but I use the old Orthodox Syrian name called Yakub. So Yakub Mathew is the name. And coming to India, etc., for me, my soul rests in India. I just come here, I have no family here, and I love coming here, so I have never celebrated my birthday in my 60 years of my life. So it happened that I had a challenge on my sort of physical existence when it was 2023. So then when I survived that, I decided that I'm going to celebrate my birthday. And the last one I told my wife is going to be with the gods. So she said, how come? Where is the God? So I said, my Hindu brothers say it's in the Sangam. So when I did my bookings with my wife, it was very easy, and they had great facilities and these tents, and everything was beautiful. So I said, my mother had taught me one thing, that always share your abundance. So we decided that we will call our near and dear, and we had a team of 19 pilgrims, and many are here, and in the end, we'll call them to the stage. They've come from San Francisco. They've come from all over the world. And so 19 of them, my wife's name is Shilpa. Shilpa and I hosted them in the Kumbh Mela. Neelima was also part of our pilgrim brigade. So all I know is it was nothing planned. As everything in my life, it was an accident. I'm also not a writer. I'm an accidental author. So this whole visit to the Kumbh just happened. And when it got over, it was January 18th to the 21st, we had some very interesting people from Sao Paulo and Milan and London and all these places. The lady who was from Sao Paulo said, Yakub, it was so ethereal, and we must capture this for our grandchildren. So I said, I'm not a filmmaker, neither am I a writer. And I had no interest because actually I shy away from attention. So I've kept that for 60 years, and this book has suddenly brought me into this limelight, which I'm actually getting quite scared. So having said all these things it led to a book, and all I know is I saw people going there, and they were going with great vigor, and they were seeking something, and going into some water which may not have been very clean. So I was observing all this, and I said, this is the power of faith, the whole thing of bhakti mein shakti. And that led to many things like what is moksha, who is Bhagwan, who am I, what's my path, and I leave that to the masters here. Anish ji is here, my brother, Mr. Chishty, would be very, very apt in talking about all these things. So the book was an accidental one, and it was launched in New York by Sadhguru and a galaxy of intellectuals and religious luminaries. And all I know is it's a mega global hit, and that comes from not me. I'm not a writer. It's a work of grace, and I'm just a sutradhar. So that's the story. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but before we let you go so easily, did the visit, which is visceral to our conversation today, did the Mahakumbh change you in any way? Did you feel anything, or is it too much to expect from a New York corporate banker to suddenly wake up and say, I saw the light?
I have seen no light. All I know is I do things out of my soul. Yes, I'm a Syrian Christian. I am not religious. I'm a spiritual human being where I had very good role models. And we don't need to talk about it, but it may come out in the conversation. So when this happened, all I learned is basic, simple truths of life. I said, I am going. When I came back, it was like a dharma. It's doing a duty where you want to send a message of multi-faith in a world which is torn apart with strife, where religion is something divisive because it's been hijacked, and spirituality is something harmonizing. So I decided that there should be a message for the world. And this was all United States and New York City. And it has led to this whole energy. So I didn't change. All I knew is I gave a message, I did my dharma, and I'm off. No book defines me. I'm not interested in anything else, so nothing changed me.
Okay, fine. But I know somebody sitting on the stage who says that she was completely transformed and she's our very own homegrown, not New York living, but very much Delhi living, Nilima. So Nilima, tell us,
Neela?
share with us, what was your life before you went to the Mahakumbh? And after the Mahakumbh, how were you? Okay, let's begin with the beginning. What were you like before?
Good afternoon, friends. On this beautiful afternoon in the Pink City, my being here, I also feel, is the culmination of a cosmic, surreal energy. How I met Yakub is another surreal story, and I have to tell you this. I may exceed my time limit, but it has to be the core of this. I can see that.
Two very spiritual people are watching.
I feel I'm the biggest misfit on this panel with the luminaries Sufi Musafir and Gurudev Anish and Yakub, who's the biggest Gurudev of all. You know, I have to tell you, this so-called Wolf of Wall Street goes to the Kumbh, this Syrian Christian boy who I have known because his mother and my mother were very good friends. And they drifted apart, and suddenly we found each other through a letter that his mother left in her cupboard in Delhi, which was addressed to my mother and to me. That is how this whole cosmic plan began. Anyway, to cut a long story short, because I can go on and I'll grab the whole session, Yakub and I have connected at a cosmic level. There is a purpose for being here. I'm the most pagan out of these luminaries on this panel. I'm not at all spiritual. I have a deep sense of, I'm sorry, I'm not at all religious, but I have deep awakening of spirituality inside me. So I was reading an account of Gurudev Anish's of his childhood, and it resonated with mine, because I had no idea that from falling from a 20-foot ceiling into a glass cabin, which was inside a temple in my home at 8 years old, nothing happened to me.
You survived.
I survived that.
Without a scratch.
So without a scratch, I had a kind of a divine experience, my first brush with the divine. I felt that two hands had lifted me from midair and placed me on the floor. And my father also always said that this is a rebirth. So I'll quickly fast forward. I have had many surreal psychic experiences. My life is a small short film on these. Then I have written 4 books in which I have written scenes from inside the womb and beyond life. So I don't know where that comes from, whether I go back into the womb, I astral travel, what happens. My book is full of these kind of energies, but nothing could have prepared me for what I felt when I went to the Kumbh. I went as an absolute non-believer, suspended rational belief. I wanted to take advantage of this fabulous offer from my friend. I land there with hundreds of messages all over the world telling me it's fecal matter. You cannot immerse your body into that. And I almost thought I'd just dip my feet, and then I got reprimanded, and everybody said, you cannot go to the Mahakumbh and not have a bath there. Anyway, as luck would have it, or the divine had planned, I went into the water. I came out. Something changed inside me. Something re-scripted at a cellular level. And I can tell you this, I felt a tremendous sense of levity, like I'm weightless. I have never felt that before, and I have never felt that again. But so heady was that feeling. Suddenly I felt that maybe people who sniff coke and do all kinds of drugs, ecstasy, this is how they feel. I sat in the boat. I told the boatman, we had to take a flight the next day at 1 o'clock. I said, mujhe kal wapis yahan aana hai. So 7:30 in the morning, the next day, I went back for that dip. I felt a little bit of it at that point, not that first sensation. But I can tell you this, that when I entered the water of the Kumbh, I went right in, immersed my head into it. I felt I had come into my mother's womb. People have accused me of having a womb fixation, but I have never felt that sense of bliss ever in my life. I felt that I don't want to go back into that mortal earth. I don't belong there. I looked at the water, and I have to confess that I'm scared of water. That expanse was so compelling. It almost made me feel that just stay right here, don't go back. That was my experience at the Kumbh.
That's beautiful, Nilima. And slightly puzzling because, of course, our Syrian Christian friend and the person who organized it had no such experience.
I have to tell you one thing which really astounded me about Yakub. First thing he did was he went and offered his hair there. So he tonsured himself, and I was, what are you doing? And we have pictures of that in the book where he's completely shaved and his offering there. So he says he's a Syrian Christian. He says nothing happened to him, but I don't believe that.
Okay, fair enough. But I want to know whether these effects which happened at that moment, and you felt levity, you felt you were back in your mother's womb, you felt all these miraculous things which people like us are not supposed to feel, but you felt it all. Did it last? I mean, did that effect of the, what you call drugs or coke or whatever you felt you had consumed when you
I
got
haven't
it,
become
did it
a
last?
saint like my two friends on stage. I'm still a sinner. I still enjoy all the pagan things and the mortal things and the indulgences of being human.
That we'll do in another session.
But yes, I'll tell you one thing. And I don't know if it was the Kumbh water or what it was, but I know I have felt a Kaya Kalp. Because I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm not as old as I look.
Okay, a quick description. I'm going to give you 2 minutes more to just describe exactly how this change has been manifesting. Because to say that you changed at a cellular level is a very big deal.
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell you that I'm a very volatile, impatient, short-tempered person by temperament. But I think, and I'm not looking at my husband because I don't know what he's going to say, but I think I have become much calmer. I feel that there is a certain peace inside me. I don't react as violently as I used to. And I think that turning point was Yakub's birthday at the Kumbh. So definitely, if I say that it's re-scripted at a cellular level, of course, physical you can see, but from inside, it has made me, I don't know if I should use the better person, but it has made me a more elevated person. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Wonderful. So maybe we missed an opportunity of all of us transforming ourselves. This transformation, Chishty Sahab, आपने तो बहुत बार देखा होगा, even in the Sufi faith, you know, this amalgamation with the being, with the supreme being, is something that each soul yearns for, and that is what I think Nilima may have experienced when she was in the Ganges at that moment. So, is this something that you have also seen, and you said you'd been to the Kumbh? So, is there something that you saw there or experienced, and how would you connect the dots between the two different faiths?
Adab, salam,
Actually, they're the same. Yeah, sorry.
Adab, salam, satrikal, and greeting of peace to all of you here. देखिए, सबसे पहली बात जो हम यहाँ पे जमा हुए हैं, उसके लिए हम शुक्र भेजते हैं उस रब का जिसने हम सबको यहाँ मिलाया. और अल्फाजों की जब हम बात करते हैं कि दिल से जो बात निकलती है वो असर रखती है. So we are all here for a purpose. And when we talked about the book, at the first instance that when I received a message and an email from Yakub Sahab about his journey towards the Kumbh, and that he's put together a book and a reflection. So we shared that, which has been, of course, duly noted in the book. But I'll tell you, when Yakub Sahab was just mentioning that it just happened out of accident. But in the spiritual path, everything happens for a reason. There is no such thing as by chance, random, or coincidental. When we talked about, one of the most beautiful example that I could give is, when you look at the orchestra. When we look at the orchestra, the most important part of the orchestra is not the piano, it's not the different instrument that they have, the musician, but But the most important part of orchestra is the tuning fork. So, when we are chosen by the divine path to serve, doesn't matter with background we are coming in, with part we are taking in, when we are chosen, we become the tuning fork. And that's how everything is attuned as the divine setting or the cosmic healing that comes through the words and the books. In the part of Tasawwuf, in Sufism, we call this maqam of ihsan and the maqam of fana, where we experience within our physical realm the spiritual realities, which often when we are into part of sama, like Qawwali, or the musical denotes, like from Hazrat Amir Khusro, to all the body of literature of the Sufi Bhakti movement, where we have all those different languages. Even when we look at the body of Amir Khusro's work, where he talked about his experiential spirituality for his guru, for his Piro Murshid. And that is what we have grown up in Ajmer Sharif, and really seeking that innumerable experiential understanding, as it is mentioned in one of the great teachings of Prophet ﷺ, Man arafu nafsuhu, faqat arafu rabbuhu. That those who know themselves knows their Lord. So the journey often begins within, which take us around the world as part of our longing, justuju-e-haq, longing of the divine path. And when we talk about oneness and the one Noor, one of the beautiful teachings which I was just sharing over at the author's lounge, which Khaja Gharib Nawaz has really, over the last 8 centuries, have been practically realized in Ajmer Sharif, where he said, if you want to be close to the Creator, कि अगर हमें उस रब के करीब पहुंचना है, तो अपनी ज़िंदगी में कुदरत की 3 सिफ़ात को शामिल करें. वो 3 सिफ़ात क्या? सूरज जैसी शफ़क़त, सन लाइक ग्रेस, दरिया जैसी सखावत, रिवर लाइक जनरोसिटी, और ज़मीन जैसी खातिर तवाज़ो, अर्थ लाइक हॉस्पिटैलिटी. क्योंकि जो 3 सिफ़ात है, these 3 attributes of nature, never ask anybody's name, religion, nationality, language, or where they come from. They are in service to all creation. That's how we have to be in part of serving, and we realize our purpose of creation. So Maqam-e-Fana take us to the purpose of our creation. Although coming from Wall Street and being in the corporate world, but he was chosen to bring together that aspect as the tuning fork, yet bring together the different spiritual masters, their reflections, beautifully compiled the book. And it has reached the far corners of Europe, that you have said, and different parts of America. I think this is the same work which Dara Sikho, who translated the Upanishads. And he was the first one. The translation of the Upanishad into Persian was taken to the European readers. So I think that is really important. It doesn't matter which faith background you come from. It's when you become the chosen one, then books like Seeking the Infinites comes to us. So I think that's a beautiful initiative that you have taken forward, and we pray that it grows multifold. Thank you.
आपने कहा था कि आप कुंभ मेला पे गए
जी.
हैं. हाँ, तो आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा?
जी, हम वाराणसी के घाट्स पे भी थे, और वहाँ पे जो interfaith organizations हैं उनके साथ वहाँ पे थे. And as I said, that it's the people, it's the souls, and it's the life that really seeks that divine presence within themselves and at the congregational gatherings, which has been happening from centuries after centuries. So that's something, when you see the strong aspect of faith that really resonate and translate into human service. And that's where you seek the infinite. Because prayers are important. As in Ajmer Sharif, we just concluded the Urs of Khaja Gharib Nawaz about 15 days back, where we had almost about 1.4 million seeking hearts. So everything that resonates with the seva, with the khizmat-e-khalq, and the prayers, with seva, khizmat, and prayers, even destinies are changed. ये दरबार में हम जब बड़े हुए तो हमें यही सिखाया गया कि दरबार में आने वालों का ना तो आप नाम पूछें, ना मज़हब पूछें, ना ज़बान पूछें, किस खित्ते से आए ये भी ना पूछें. अगर पूछना है तो एक बात पूछें कि हम आपकी क्या खिदमत कर सकते हैं, कि how can we serve you. And I think Kumbh is a place where people, irrespective of who they are, their name, identities, dissolve in that oneness. And it's the same oneness which Adi Shankaracharya talked about in Advaita and Vedanta. And the Chishty Sufis, Khaja Gharib Nawaz, Baba Farid, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya, they talked about Wahdatul Wajud, oneness of being. And the same experiential reality which was talked about by Huzur Baba Guru Nanak Sahab when he talked about Ek Noor and ek onkara. I think that is all, it sums us up what people experience in a gathering like Kumbh.
Right. Wonderful. I'd like to turn to you, Ji, because you've had Anishi, Gurudev Anishi, you have had many years of living in solitude. 12 साल आप एकांत में रहे हैं हिमालयस में, और फिर उसके बाद आपने बहुत समय कुंभ में भी बिताया है. You have even made a film on it. We'll talk about that a little later. पर उससे पहले मैं आपसे यही पूछना चाहती हूँ कि what have you been able to experience at the Mahakumbh? Because I think this time there was a lot of discussion on how fabulously it was organized and everything was looked into in great detail by the media. But I think the soul of the Kumbh, as Salman Saab just said, was the spirituality, was the deep-rootedness of its ethos in India. What does it feel like to have this large spiritual gathering? So it can change destinies. It's a cosmic feeling that everybody gets all together. So aap bataiye.
शुरू से शुरू करता हूँ. We launched the book in New York, I think in November. 16th of November. I was there. Before that, when I got this invitation, I did not know who Yakub is. What caught my attention was two things. One, the subject, Mahakumbh, because we were there for 40 days during the entire duration of Mahakumbh this time. And the second thing which caught my attention was the name of the book, Seeking the Infinite. Now, what is so special about it? We all have traveled across the world. What sets this country apart is the spirit of seeking the infinite. We do not seek the finite. Finite, the money, the resources, the name, the fame, the material wealth, which is important up to a certain extent. But since millennia, our effort, our perception, our movement has been towards seeking the infinite. Because everything that we call finite, Yakub, comes from the infinite. The other word for that is the spiritual quest. Now, what is Mahakumbh? Why was it so important? Why is this so important? When for centuries and millennia, people of this land have been seeking the infinite, how do you preserve that? We did two things to preserve this civilization, just two things. One, this body of knowledge through the seeking of infinite that our great rishis got. We build large institutions like Takshila, like Nalanda, like Vikramshila to capture this body of knowledge so that it can be used for generations to come. And the other smart thing that they did, they created events around this body of knowledge. Events, because you can't change the events. So Mahakumbh became one such event. This time 660 million people came there. When you have such collective mass of people who are all seeking the infinite, the vibration there are very different. All of you, all of us who were there, just the field of energy that 660 million people's faith generated changed the entire aura of that land. Not just that. We don't pick up any random date to say, okay, on such and such day, we organize Mahakumbh. It's a cosmic movement. We wait for 12 years for a certain alignment of Sun, Moon, and Jupiter. Astronomically, when that alignment happens, there's a different force of energy on planet Earth. And this Mahakumbh, which we were all part of, this was 12 cycles of 12 years, which is 144 years. And our rishis also chose a particular geographical location on this globe where the impact of this alignment is going to be massive. And that's Triveni Sangam at Prayagraj. Now, why Triveni Sangam alone? because 3 rivers meet there. What's the relevance of that? River Ganga, which is symbolizing Shiva Tattva, Shiva energy, she's Rodra. Yamuna, that's the Krishna aspect. And then Saraswati, which is the wisdom aspect, where these 3 rivers meet, and Saraswati is Adrishya, she's under the ground, the mystical river. And where these 3 rivers meet, that's the point we call Triveni. And in the yogic system, we also call that Agya Chakra, Trikuti here. At the Triveni, where the water is flowing, if you know some science about water, modern quantum physics is talking about that. The molecules of water absorb the vibrations from all around and they store. Water has memory. Water store that vibration, Kishwar. And on those 40 days, the cosmic vibration that's falling on the Triveni Sangam, the water is holding the memory of that vibration. That's the reason you take a dip there. And anybody who's there for any amount of time, Salman bhai, you can't come back from such a profound space unchanged, Kishwar. Something transformed, as Neelima ji was sharing. Sometime your mind will take note of that. Many times your cellular system will take note of that if the mind is too active. But something fundamentally shifts in you. So we preserve this civilizational movement we call Bharat through such large sacred events. And remember, Kishwar, this is a multi-faith event. When I was there in the event, I met Sufis there, Salman bhai. I met Sikh tradition there. I met people from the Buddhist tradition, the Tibetan Buddhists there. I met people from Jain tradition there. So it was a full amalgamation. So this is the spiritual and sacred event of humanity. And we are proud that it happens in India. And it's been happening for, nobody knows the date.
Right.
Since when it's been happening. But I like to believe, Kishwar, and I feel, it is the profound energy of such events that's making this country alive and go. Last
Great.
bit on that. I was talking to a friend from Ministry of External Affairs. I will not name, and he shared the data with me, Yakub, that 70% visas that India allocates to foreign travelers, the reason for their coming to India is spiritual tourism. They come here to seek the infinite, nothing else.
Great. I think that's beautifully put. But because we are a little running out of time, I think I'll have to throw the floor open to the audience. But before that, if you want to say just a couple of lines on the film that we're going to see shortly, just a few words.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. When this Mahakumbh was getting planned, one day during the meditation, just about 15 days before Mahakumbh was about to start, boom, Shiva orders that you've got to capture this. Now, how do you capture this? And I'm a filmmaker and we're also script writers. So we just put together a team. They said we need 6 months to prepare for filming there. They said if we can do just the documentary, it's fine. I said no documentary. We want to fuse fiction with the documentary. Why? Because the world needs to know what Mahakumbh is all about and how lives transform at Mahakumbh. Especially people who've not been able to come to Mahakumbh. So we just put together the script, created the crew, and we were there for about 40 days. There are 3 characters, protagonists, who are all from the ashram, by the way.
Oh, wow.
We didn't hire the professional actors, but they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And through their journeys and through the documentary aspect of Mahakumbh, we showed how life transformed by just being there, witnessing, observing, and being present at such an event. So that's what we've captured in the film. And we launched the trailer at the New York event. And
Are we going to do it
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
But before that, can we just quickly take a few questions from the audience? Yeah. Are there any questions? Please raise your hand if you want to ask anything. Any questions at all from our panelists? Okay. There you are. That lady there, please.
Thank you. My question is, these events and these knowledge centers, they definitely change something in you, but on daily basis in this material world, how do you make it last?
Who are you addressing the question to? Anybody in particular?
No.
Okay. Would our two spiritual leaders here want to say something?
Ji, your question is about that what we experience, how does it last, right? I think it is very important to reflect on our inner essence of what we are, and the two important energies that we are empowered, and often into the blind materialistic pursuit of this world, we often tend to forget that two powers that has been bestowed upon each one of the parts of us human family. These are sabr, patience, and shukr. So when you wake up with gratitude, shukr, and when you sleep, rest the day with patience. That will always enable you to remember who you are and take it closer to your purpose of creation. With the power of shukr, you will always be grounded as humble. You will never be arrogant or egoistic or somebody who would be, empowering with your words on the negative sense. With sabr, patience, you will, first, of course, you will never have to visit any psychiatric clinic, but at the same time, you will be always content. Even there is a azmaish, koi challenges bhi agar aapke samne aayenge, with sabr, tomorrow is a new day, new leads life, and you will be empowered with that power of gratitude and patience. So I would conclude this with a very beautiful poetry of Maulana Rumi, which really resonates the spirit of Kumbh, what we are talking about. As he said in his Masnavi, Baza, Baza, Haran Chehasti Baza, Sat Bar, Gar Tauba Shikasti Baza, Idarga Ima, Na Umidi Nis, Idarga Ima, Umidast, Umidast, Umidast. Come, come, come. Whoever you are, come. Even if you have broken your vows of repentance 1,000 times, come. Our doors are not the doors of despair. Our doors are the doors of hope, hope, and hope. And this is what India and Bharat has known for centuries as keeping the door of hope open for entire humanity.
Wonderful. Okay, there's time for just a couple. Yes, that gentleman there, please. Okay. No, you still need the mic. Yeah, there's the mic.
And thank you for the opportunity. Yakub, this is a question for you. What was the most difficult thing?
Louder, please, louder.
What was the most difficult thing for you when you were writing this book? Not technically, but emotionally.
So who are you addressing? Can I answer that?
To you.
Yes, that's to you.
To you as
So
the
questions
author.
to
You're
you.
saying what was the most difficult thing when you arrived there?
When you were writing this book.
When you were writing the book, as I said, I was just a sutradhar, I was a messenger, a womb. I had no difficulty because all I know is I get up at 3 in the morning, I sleep at 7:30 every day as a matter of habit. And when I get up, it's that peaceful, my time. And I just empty my head and thinking about it. And it was just a logical process of what is this whole energy, this bhakti me shakti, this whole thing of moksha, and then sending a message of how to be realized, evolved, and ultimately conscious. When you come to a state of consciousness, everything happens naturally, So I didn't find any difficulty. All I know is when I received the book in October sometime, I told my wife, I haven't done this book, It's too good for me. In Hindi, we say, apni औकात ही नहीं है ये किताब करने का. So, we looked at it. We said, this is something fantastic. And all I know is, it is something of a divine gift. It's not something which people like us can do it. And it happened, and it's there, and it all got sold out in no time globally. So New York, we had 700 people, and it carries on. The book has a life of its own. It's now from here, it goes to Delhi on the 1st of March, and Delhi will be a very interesting one. So all our Delhiites, you will enjoy Delhi. And then it goes to Dubai, then it goes to the House of Lords in London, it goes to Vatican, and then it goes to the House, to the US Congress. So this is something of a divine gift. It's not, there's no difficulty.
Okay, great. Yeah, to watch the trailer of the Sadhu movie. And then after that, we'll do a photo op with all the pilgrims who are here. So let's just watch the trailer, please. The video.
बाबा, एक बात पूछ सकता हूँ आपसे? और लोग कहते हैं कि कुंभ में सत्य और धर्म का स्थान है। पर मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा बाबा कि क्या सच है और क्या झूठ।
बहने दो, सब कुछ मिलेगा।
भाई ये क्या हो रहा है यार, इतनी भीड़। मैंने फंस चुका हूं।
किराया खर्च करके आओगे, यहाँ तक आओगे, आपके नसीब में नहीं है, गंगा जी में हाथ नहीं डाल पाओगे वापसी में।
मेरा काम यहाँ बस रिपोर्ट करना है, इस भीड़ के बारे में लिखना है, बस।
कहाँ से आई हो? बाहर से। मेला देखने आई हो? हाँ।
पर मुझे लगता है ये कुंभ सिर्फ एक तमाशा है।
महाकुंभ है, ये मेला नहीं है।
नहीं है मेला?
ये मेला नहीं है, ये महाकुंभ है। कुंभ मेले सनातन की जड़ है। जिसको माँ बुलाएगी गंगा मैया वही आएगा।
अगलों की शक्ति है, जो कुछ है अब शंकर भगवान ही है।
किसी दूसरे के सत्य को समझने से पहले अपने सत्य को खोजो।
I'm sure they will find it. I found it. The rest will find it too.
प्रश्नों के पीछे छिपे मौन को साधो, सत्य के दर्शन उसी मौन में होंगे।
Very beautiful. We have run out of time, but we just like all the pilgrims, fellow pilgrims who went with Yakub on this journey to the Mahakumbh. If you could come on stage so that we could do a photo op and the book release.
Yes.